old were you when you were adopted, and what country were you from?
I was born in Korea, in South Korea, and I came over when I was 6 months old, so I was a baby. I was the youngest baby on the plane.
And why did your parents decide to adopt?
Well, my parents couldn't have children biologically, so they just wanted a child. And I think they said that they saw it on the news they saw a story about international adoption on the news, which is fitting since I work in the news now. But, they didn't know much about international adoption. I mean, they had been on waiting lists, I think, for domestic adoption, but they had just been waiting and waiting and waiting. So when they saw whatever they saw on TV about international adoption, that's when they made a call somewhere, and 6 months later got me.
So are you an only child then?
It's kind of a long story. I am an only child. My parents wanted to adopt more children, but there was kind of a mishap that they had when I was a kid. We had taken in a boy when I was like 2, and he was 6, and he had a lot of issues. Like he had a lot of, I think because he was in an abusive home before that. So basically, this is not a funny story, but basically like he tried to kill me when I was 2. So like he had a hammer, and it was like a horror movie. It was just a bad deal. So that's when I think they freaked out, and they decided that after that their family was complete. So and they didn't want to let him go because he was a really great kid, but he just needed to be in a home either with all boys or he needed to be an only child.
So did your parents encourage you to find about your home country and your biological parents?
My parents were always open to the idea of me getting in touch with my heritage. When I was a kid, I went to like Korean heritage camps, and we went to like adoption day festivals, things like that. But and they were always open to the idea of me asking and wanting to know about my birth family, and we were always pretty open about it. I don't think that we ever thought that we were going to find my biological family. Like I never had gone out searching for them before. It just so happened that after I graduated high school, my parents they gave me a trip to Korea as my graduation present. I went to Korea with Dylan, and it's kind of like a 2-week stay where adoptive families like see all the sights that you would see as a normal tourist, but then they also kind of splice in all these adoption things too. Like we went to an orphanage, we met with unwed mothers, things like that.
Did you ever feel different then from your parents when you were younger?
Oh yeah. Yeah. I think that's what teen doesn't feel different than their parents to begin with? So like what part of my teen angst was like, teen angst or like adoption related? Because it's all about, it was all dramatic. So, but yeah, I did feel different than my parents because they never understood. I felt like they could never understand why I was so upset about people name calling or about, why doesn't Jimmy like me? Why does he always like Leslie who's blonde, or whatever. Like those were things that, why can't I be taller? Why can't I do, why does everyone know who I am? Because everyone did know who I was. Like I was in a school where I was the only Asian kid. So I couldn't get in trouble. I got in trouble, but I couldn't do anything without people noticing. And sometimes that was really hard, and people would always I was always different. And when you're a kid, you don't want to be different. Like when you're an adult, it's like cool to be different, but when you're a kid growing up, I think for me anyway, all I wanted to do was be like everybody else. All I wanted to do was just kind of fit in and blend.